She has only gotten
sports,
to
business,
press line. They haven't gotten
being in
to
a classroom
this.
as a student, being a lawyer, being a plumber, whatever your sphere of influence is, you always have an opportunity.
Well, I can see they
by
did
your
put the
actions
chemicals
and your
down
words
because
to share the good news.
snow isn't quite as
Jesus
deep
Christ.
right
That's
here.
a great example.
Isn't that a wonderful story? We're going to be right back. One more month in here. We'll talk about it.
Later tonight, when we pull out, it's going to be a lot deeper than it is now.
It's going to be ice here,
someone's
too.
Bible, believe it or not, it has happened.
The Legal Alert. Here's attorney David Gibbs Jr.
While on their way to school each morning, a young lady would read her Bible on the bus. One morning, a student seated nearby asked her to read it out loud to him. When they arrived at school, a teacher overheard the students talking about it. The young lady was swiftly taken to the principal's office, and the Bible was confiscated.
Oh.
Outraged and confused, the young lady's parents contacted our office at the Christian Law Association. A government school cannot prohibit a religious book
No,
such
they
as the
had
Bible,
no right to
merely because it's religious.
and to do
The
that
law
to
on
her.
this is clear. For students, carrying a Bible and reading it in school or on the school bus is constitutionally protected free
Yes.
speech. We had the privilege to help protect the rights of this young lady and her Bible. This young lady now has the right to carry her Bible on the bus at any time.
You can speak to one of our legal missionary
Praise
attorneys
God
without
that
charge,
she led
24
somebody
hours a
to
day.
Christ, maybe.
Call
Yep.
888-252-1969.
Yeah.
That's 888-252-1969. 888-CLA-1969. Why does it seem that commitment in marriage is so rare today? This is Real Family Life with marriage and family expert Dennis Rainey. It's Friday, January 10th.
I think that's not as much as there a right person is that there's a right person for right then. Marriage is something that should be made to last, but sometimes you can still care for that person, but you know that they're not what you need.
Back over to that
I
lane.
mean, if you gotta move on, I'd say move on.
Unfortunately, a lot of husbands and wives are moving on when they need to stay put and honor the commitment they've made to one another. I once ran across a personal ad in a newspaper. I saved it because it really tells us something about the times we're in. It read, "To Mary, my love for you would climb the highest mountain. My love for you would cross the hottest desert. My love for you would cause me to die at the stake for you. Love, Jim. P.S. I'll see you Sunday if it doesn't rain." One final thought. Your mate needs to know that you'll stay committed to them, not only when romantic feelings are strong, but also when the storms roll in and make life difficult. If you haven't
Looking to see
affirmed
if we
your
have an
commitment
accident
to your
ahead.
mate
There's
in a
no,
while, why don't you tell them you'll
report of
be
any.
faithful, rain or shine? I'm Dennis Rainey, and that's Real Family Life.
I was looking on the phone there for a minute.
In 1923, President Calvin Coolidge lit the first national Christmas tree. Later that night, African-American community centers held an outdoor worship service on these grounds, and during that service, the Washington Monument was illuminated with a beautiful cross, a powerful reminder of the meaning of Christmas.
Date has been set to hear an abortion case in Louisiana that could impact reproductive rights across the country. The Supreme Court justices will hear oral arguments for the case in March.
North Korea says the U.S. is trying to drag out the nuclearization talks as the 2020 presidential election draws near.
A mass shooting at a military facility in Florida. The Navy confirming a gunman opened fire at Naval Air Station Pensacola, killing at least 3 people and injuring 7 more.
The Pentagon has announced it has stopped training all Saudi military personnel in the U.S. until further notice.
Yesterday or
A family
today.
devastated. Matthew Hollander, just 13, and his 16-year-old brother Barrett are the first Americans confirmed dead from the volcanic eruption here.
Teenager climate
Nice to see you
activist and
guys.
now Time Magazine's Person of the Year. Greta Thunberg, the 16-year-old
Nice to
Swede
see
who
you
inspired
guys.
millions to take action.
A new dawn rises on a new day.
And what a new day it is for the victorious Boris Johnson.
Jersey City Mayor Stephen Fulop told reporters early Wednesday that an